Hi guys, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Smalletics channel. So today I have a video that you guys have requested from me. I don't know why you guys want me to make this video because I'm not vegan, but I'm going to help my fellow vegans, anyone who follows the Smalletics channel or is in the Smalletics community, Short Girl Gang community, and is vegan and is trying to get their protein up. This video is for you. So if you guys have seen my free guide for petites, it's called From Small to Powerful. It's my fat loss guide. It's totally free. You can download it below, by the way. One of the biggest things in my free guide and in the Smalletics method and framework is increasing your protein as a petite. This is super, super important because it's all about our metabolic health. When it comes to being petite, we have slower metabolisms a little bit, just naturally by being really efficient, smaller bodies in terms of height, and height and metabolism are correlated. So the entire framework that I teach is about taking a metabolic approach to your fitness and your health rather than a calorie approach, counting calories, cutting calories, dieting, etc. The way that I teach my clients how to get lean without cutting calories is by emphasizing a metabolic approach and speeding up the metabolism. And one of the key ways that we do this is by making sure that we build muscle. And the way that we build muscle is we eat enough protein. So you can see it kind of takes like a few steps to get there, but protein is really, really important for naturally boosting your metabolism as a petite woman. And we have to figure out how to get the protein up so that we can naturally build our metabolisms and start to burn fat even in our sleep. So given that being a vegan or a vegetarian, you're generally eating fewer calories because you're not eating animal products, which tend to be higher in calories, it's really important to take a look at your nutrition as a vegan or a vegetarian and do a little bit of planning to, first of all, figure out where you're currently at with your protein, and second of all, how you can increase it if you determine that you need to increase it. So step one is keep a food journal. I use MyFitnessPal and just loosely track for a few days and see how much protein you're eating on average per day. In general, a sort of aggressive approach to going through a body recomposition, so losing fat, gaining muscle, is to eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Registered dietitians would recommend slightly lower than that because the general population doesn't need that much protein. However, athletes need that much protein. If you're going to be strength training, working out in the gym, and you want to build muscle, you should increase your protein intake. And of course, always consult with your doctor and make sure that your health is going to be okay with eating a higher protein diet. So step two, once you determine how much protein you're eating in a day, now you know if you need to increase it, that it's time to do a little bit of planning to figure out where you can start to increase your protein in your day. So I have a bunch of notes, and in this video, I'm gonna show you all of the foods and ingredients that I give my clients. I tell my clients they can start incorporating if they're vegan and trying to get their protein up. And then after, we're gonna talk about foods to avoid as a vegan. And then we're also gonna get into some considerations. So we're gonna talk about veganism being a slightly high fiber diet. It can be higher fiber. We'll talk about what that means and how to sort of mitigate the unwanted effects of too high fiber in your diet. And we're also going to talk about nutritional deficiencies as a vegan and how you can avoid having them. And I will just say I'm not vegan. As you guys probably know, I eat animal products. I do, however, really encourage people to eat more plant-based diets. I try to eat plant-based foods throughout my day at every meal. I try to get enough vegetables, fruits, and in general, just for sustainability and for health, it's always good to add in a plant-based diet or even substitute an animal-based one with plant-based when you can. I'm a full proponent of that. However, I've never had any trouble with animal products in terms of digesting. I enjoy them and I eat them in, I guess you would say, moderation, but they are in my diet. So just disclaimer, I am not a proponent of veganism. I do not teach it, but I support my clients who come into my programs who already have vegan diets or vegetarian diets. So wherever you are with your food, we can figure out how to get you where you want to go. So without further ado, let's get into the ingredients, all of the lists of foods and items that are higher protein for vegans that are really gonna help you get your protein up. Okay, so this is in no particular order and there's a lot. So you might even wanna take out a pen and paper and write these down as we're going. So first up, there's beans and legumes. These are a great food because they're high in protein and they're also high in fiber. And that also means, of course, they are a carbohydrate and a protein. So when you're eating this as your source of protein, remember there's carbs in it as well. So you may not need to pack in lots of other carbs in your meal, right? You probably don't need a lot of extra breads or anything if you're already getting your carbs from the beans. Now, the beans alone probably won't have as much protein as you need in a meal, but they can can help supplement when you combine it with other ingredients that we're gonna go over today. But the beans alone, they can really help bulk up your meals, also bulk up your poo because of the fiber, and really help you get the protein up. And by the way, in case you don't know what fiber is, it's kind of confusing. Fiber is it's a kind of carbohydrate, a type of carb that we don't metabolize. So it does count in that it goes through our digestive system, but we're not metabolizing it as we would for normal calories and other regular carbohydrates. So it's kind of like free calories, although I don't want you to think about it as that because there's no such thing, but it will kind of bulk up your poo. It helps you be regular with bowel movements, and it's really important to have fiber because it helps you stay full. Okay, next up, quinoa and amaranth. These are two sort of pseudo grains that have all of the amino acids, the 9 essential amino acids you need for it to be a complete protein. So they're known as complete proteins. They're, for that reason, a great way to add protein into your meal. I also reached out to my vegan clients and asked them for their tips as they were going through my program, and they gave me some awesome ones. This one is from Kelly. She said 1 cup of quinoa has 9 grams of protein, pretty solid. Combine that with lentils and you're looking at just shy of 30 grams of protein per meal. And that's exactly what we hit. A lot of times us petites are in sort of the same calorie range in terms of macronutrients. It does differ from person to person and it can differ substantially, but generally with the protein, we're trying to hit, 30 grams of protein per meal is gonna be a really, really solid goal for you. Next up, soy products. So this would be tofu, tempeh, edamame, soy milk, and soy protein powders. Now, we don't want to overdo it with the soy products because there is some research that there are certain chemicals such as an estrogen-like compound in soy products that can mess with your thyroid or just affect sort of your hormones. I'm not going to really speak on this at length, but if you want to enjoy it, just eat it in moderation, and that kind of goes for everything, right? Just enjoy what you enjoy in moderation and make sure you also are getting lots of other nutrient-dense foods around it. So as a vegan, you can also go for calcium-fortified milks and yogurts. These will help you get not only enough, calcium as a vegan, but also vitamin D, which a lot of us are deficient in because we're not in the sun, specifically vitamin D3. And there's usually some protein in them. They can be sort of fortified with pea protein or some other maybe soy protein. The ingredients will always be on the back. You can look, but they're usually fortified with some protein as well. Next up, spirulina. This is this blue-green algae that is, you've probably heard it as like this superfood. It's packed with nutrients and minerals, and it actually is a high source of protein as well, so check out spirulina. Next up we have seeds, so hemp, flax, sunflower, and chia seeds. These contain protein, but they also contain a really healthy source of fats called omega-3s, and we need these. We typically get it from salmon and seeds like this. Really, really important to maintain your health. Kelly, the vegan who I reached out to, one of my clients, she said she loves to add this little, seeds to her salads, gives it a little bit of a crunch. And another hack and a recipe I have inside the Petite Power program is a chia pudding. Chia pudding's awesome. It's chia seeds and an almond milk, and this chia seeds will soak up and absorb the almond milk and give you this delicious filling, high protein, high fat breakfast. Next up we have sprouted grain breads. So this could be Ezekiel bread. I believe Dave's Killer bread would fit into this category. These tend to have a lot of protein and fiber in them as well. So if you're looking to eat carbs that have protein in them as well, just because every little gram counts when you're vegan and it adds up, this is also a really good tip. There's also oats. They do have a little bit of protein in them, even though they are predominantly a carb. And then next up we have nut butters. And in general, nuts and nut butters are a source of fat. However, they are going to have some protein in them, so it can be a good way to sneak your protein in and also get your healthy fats. So then there's also nutritional yeast, which I know a lot of my vegan clients love adding as sort of a topping or seasoning to their foods. While it is just a seasoning and not really a main course meal, it does have some protein in it, which can really help. Like I said, when you're vegan, every little bit is gonna help it stack up to getting 30 grams per meal. And nutritional yeast has vitamin B12, which is really important. You might not be getting that from animal products since you're not eating animal products as a vegan, so vitamin B12 found in nutritional yeast is also great. Kelly had a really good tip. She said in terms of her vegetables, she tries to choose really high protein vegetables because every little bit counts, right? She says her mushrooms, green beans, asparagus, and spinach, of course, have higher protein content. It is a very small amount, but like I'm saying over and over again, when you start to just lean towards the higher protein foods, you'll be surprised how fast it adds up if you just do a little bit of planning. Okay, and then lastly on this list is protein supplements. I have not found a vegan yet who's been able to really hit their protein goal without some kind of supplement. And this is just a protein powder, so something that's delicious that you can add to your shake. Kelly, my client, she says she likes Garden of Life vegan protein powders. These are probably fortified with pea protein, and you can just add it to your shakes. You can add it to oatmeal, you can add it to almond milk. Really, you can add it to chia pudding. You can add it to so many things, and it's really just gonna help you get that extra protein in that you're probably gonna need at the end of the day. Okay, so let's talk about vegan foods to avoid. The number one thing to try to stay away from is vegan junk food. And there's so many new products now popping up in the market that are, you know, say healthy on them. They say they have crazy things on foods now. There's nothing that is deemed healthy by FDA standards, right? If they put that on their packaging, it's just advertising. In general, there's lots of new like vegan ice creams and candies, and a lot of them actually say like high protein on them when they're not natural sources of protein, they're protein fortified foods. We're looking at things like vegan protein bars, which can be packed with sugar and other processed foods in there that you don't want. You just don't need the extra refined sugars. It's better to get all of your protein from nutrient dense, single ingredient foods rather than foods that have tons of ingredients on the back. In general, vegan junk food is becoming its own market. When you think about actually the next one on this list, which is mock meats and cheeses, there's Beyond Meat, there's all of these new inventive, what am I trying to say? They're very creative, very inventive, they're very cutting edge new products, but they're not real foods. They're very highly processed, and they're really just there as an option for vegans because they can't have the real thing. But ultimately, it's not a good alternative to go for the Beyond Meats regularly. Yes, have it in moderation. If you start having these processed foods every day, just because they're vegan doesn't mean they're healthy, right? They're still processed. There's still a lot of chemicals and preservatives and things that go into making these foods. The other reason why these foods shouldn't be your top choice is they have lots of additives in them, and they tend to be lower in nutrients, and the lower amount of nutrients that are in your food, the slower your metabolism is going to be. There's a really direct correlation between people who eat nutrient dense foods and have faster metabolisms and people who eat low nutrient density foods and have slower metabolisms. So that's just one other reason. Try not to lean too much on the vegan junk food. Okay, so we're almost in the home stretch here. The considerations that I'm bringing up, these are just a few and it's not comprehensive, but the two ones that I want to bring up are high fiber. So when you eat a vegan or vegetarian diet, you can end up having a really high fiber diet, like eating 60 grams or more per day. And remember, women should have 25 to 30 grams per day, and most women don't get that. But when you're eating vegan and vegetarian, you're eating so many fruits and vegetables that the fiber just stacks up. And this is really good, except if you start to have bloating, excessive gas, digestion problems. And if you're experiencing these, could be because your fiber intake is quite high. And again, you can look back on your food journal. MyFitnessPal will show you how much fiber you're having in a day, and just see if this is really the problem before you try to treat it. Make sure you can sort of figure out, could this be something? And of course, always speak with your doctor about it. So the best thing that you can do to help process all this fiber is just to drink enough water. When we don't drink enough water and we have a high fiber diet, you can have really slow down the digestion, because like I said, fiber bulks up your poo, so it's just gonna kind of slow everything down. So make sure you're drinking enough water to really wash everything out. And what is enough? Generally, 3 liters a day for a petite woman would be really, really, really solid. I would recommend buying a liter water bottle. I don't have mine in front of me, it's over there, but a full liter water bottle, and just trying to have 2 to 3 of those per day would be a really solid place to start. So when I'm working with my vegan clients, I'm also very conscientious of the fact that there are nutrients that they might not be getting in their diet. For vegans, the biggest one are probably calcium, omega-3s, iron, zinc, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. So I talked about a little bit of these in the food sources I brought up, but I'm not sure, you should honestly ask your doctor. You might need to take a vegan multivitamin to help get those nutrients that I just mentioned. In general, I always recommend to all my clients, whether they're vegan or not, to go to their doctor and get a full blood panel every year to check on their nutrient deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, and you'll find out in those blood results if you are in fact vitamin D3 deficient or vitamin B12 deficient. Especially for vegans, I would even encourage this even more so that you can look at your diet and figure out what foods you need to supplement and add in to make sure you're getting all the nutrients you can so you have a fast metabolism and you just feel good and you're just healthy in general. So you guys, I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational and you got something from it. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your diet is or what your dietary restrictions are, I should say. The method I teach works for everyone no matter what because it's a macronutrient approach and it's intuitive eating. It can be a lot of different things. It's really more just about the education and taking the metabolic approach and not a calorie counting approach, which by the way, I wanna let you know, I now have a free video training for you guys. It's available for only a few days. So if you wanna watch it, it's all about calorie counting as petite women and how to avoid that, how to get away from that. If you've ever gone on Google and searched calorie calculator and as a petite woman found out that you should be eating less than 1,400 or 1,200 calories to lose weight, then this video you're going to love. It has so much information that is so powerful and you'll walk away from that video with a lot you can implement immediately to start losing fat and gaining muscle as a petite woman and just feeling good and confident in your body. So you can check that out in the link description below. It's just available for a few days and then the replay will be taken down, but I think you're going to love it. And then the last announcement I have is the Smalletics famous Petite Power program. It's the original program for petite women. It's a 12-week program. I have a registered dietitian now, Danielle. She's amazing. It is now open for enrollment. We are accepting clients for a few days. If you have any interest at all in joining, I would highly encourage you to check out the link below and just read a little bit about it, explore if it feels right for you, and if you have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram or ask me below. I'm happy to chat with you. This is going to be the biggest class we've had ever, January 2020. I'm so excited. Already over 100 women have graduated from this program and are alumni in the community, walking around with fast metabolisms and just feeling really confident and strong and powerful in their petite bodies. So I would love to invite you to explore if this would be right for you, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. All right, you guys, please give this video a like if you learned anything new or it helped you in any way, vegan or not. Subscribe for more content tailored to petite women. Happy New Year, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.